woman from Ohio, Ms. Brown, for her questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate this committee holding this hearing. Commissioner Goodell, you have repeatedly touted that the NFL should be held to a high standard, and I applaud you for that. You have also assured us that when the NFL took over the investigation of the Commanders, it was to, quote, provide greater public assurance of the integrity and independence of this investigation. And yet, it's been reported 8 days after the NFL assumed oversight of the Wilkinson investigation, it signed an agreement with the Commanders. A secret agreement is how some might call it. But the agreement gave Dan Snyder the Commanders the right to veto the release information or communication shared with the Wilkinson investigation. So my question, yes or no, Mr. Goodell, is it true that the Commanders blocked the NFL from turning over 40,000 documents from the internal investigation to this committee in response to its October 2021 request?
Congresswoman, sorry, this was a legal agreement that allowed the transfer of the investigation that was begun under the Washington Commanders authority and was transferred to the NFL. I'm not a lawyer, but I fully understand from our people, my understanding is that it did not prevent us from sharing any information.
Just reclaiming my time, is that a yes or a no, Mr. Goodell? I'm sorry.
It's the answer to my question. It's neither. I'm trying to bring clarity to the question.
Okay, I'm going to respectfully reclaim my time. The NFL, it's also been reported that the NFL stood by while Mr. Snyder ran a shadow investigation, deploying private investigators to the homes of his accusers in an effort to intimidate them while he offered them hush money to buy their silence. Mr. Goodell, did you or anyone from the NFL tell Mr. Snyder or his attorneys to stop using private investigators? Yes or no, please?
We, as soon as we took over the investigation, we made it clear to them that they should not be investigating any of these matters. Secondly, we asked that the Commanders reach out to current employees as well as former employees to encourage them to participate. So any efforts to intimidate witnesses or prevent them from doing it would be inconsistent with that.
What about the subpoenaing of private emails and phone records from former employees about confidential communications with the Washington Post regarding the Commander's toxic workplace? Can you tell me about that?
I'm not sure I understand your question, Congresswoman.
Did you ask for that to cease, or was there any engagement from you to stop that usage?
For what to cease? I'm sorry.
The subpoenaing of private emails and phone records from former employees about confidential communications with the Washington Post regarding the Commander's toxic workplace?
I'm not clear on what that is. I'm happy to follow up with our staff and our attorneys to make sure we get you an answer, but I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. All right. Well, after hearing some of the questions that have been put forth and your responses, it seems to me that the NFL picked a side in this investigation, which silenced the voices of employees and allowed Mr. Snyder to peddle his own version of the facts. And I think it's been stated here, while I again applaud the efforts and the steps that you have taken to reverse course, it is, I associate myself with the comments of my colleague, Mr. Rokana. We can and we must do better. We should not allow the owners to decide what information is made public, and we should not allow them to silence their employees with non-disclosure agreements that conceal workplace misconduct. So it is my hope and my belief that this committee must act to pass meaningful legislation that will protect the workers in the lead and around the country. And so, with all sincerity, I thank you for coming forward and taking the time to answer this committee's questions, and hope that you will continue to take the steps to lead the nation as an example of what it takes to have a productive, quality, safe workplace. Thank you so much. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman